Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming one of the most unconventional reading wrap-ups, monthly wrap-ups that I have ever. Long story short, I'm currently at school in North Carolina. If you didn't know, now you know. And I'm going home for the rest of the month and maybe part of July, most of July, who knows. But long story short, I'm spending the month in two different places. So I'm filming the first half of my June wrap-up right now because I would rather not travel with all of these if I don't have to, even though I am driving. That's just such an unnecessary thing. So I'm gonna go through everything I've read in the month so far. We're actually just over halfway through the month. Oh, exactly, it's June 15th. Look at that. So we're exactly halfway through the month and I've read 13 books. That's partially because I did a 24-hour readathon. I haven't even edited that. I haven't even taken that footage off the SD card. Like, it's currently on this SD card. So we'll see how that goes, but it will definitely be posted before this. So hope you watched and enjoyed. I'm just gonna go through everything. I've vlogged most of these books, just saying. So we're not gonna get too deep because the first book I read this month was Fairy Tale by Stephen King. I talked about this in my fantasy reading vlog and I really enjoyed it. I kind of liked, I feel like it feels so big. Like I felt like I read like a huge book when I finished this, when it's like literally only 600 pages. Not only, but I've read like longer books. You know what I mean? Anyway, but I really liked it and it was an interesting read for me because while it's technically a fantasy, it is really more just about Charlie and his life and who he is as a person and his relationship with his dog and his neighbors and his family. So it was definitely something new for me and I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it like 4 stars, but it definitely, after reading and disliking Carrie, it definitely gave me kind of hope to read. I want to try more of his writing. And actually I just found out recently Carrie was the first book he ever wrote. So it makes me feel a little bit better that I was like, that book's so... Anyways, long story short, highly recommend. I never know how to talk about books that I wouldn't normally read because I'm like, I wouldn't normally read that, but whatever. After that, I read Radiant Sin by Katie Robert and I actually really enjoyed this. I feel like her Dark Olympus series, I love some, hate some, not sure, but I really like this one. It's a fake dating trope, which who doesn't like? And I kind of liked how Apollo is like supposed to be like a cinnamon roll basically. They just had a great dynamic that I really liked and the plot was pretty interesting and normally they are in these books, but I think this one is probably maybe my favorite out of all 4 that I've read, but I think it was definitely better than Neon Gods. I never know how to rate these because I read them so far apart and I never know how to compare them. But I really enjoyed this. Okay, then... Oh my gosh. Then I read This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Motar and Max Gladstone. And holy shit, 5 stars. This is the only 5-star read I think I've had in quite some time. Like, this was amazing. And if you have never heard of this book, it is basically a sci-fi that follows a sapphic love story. But I feel like it's neither sci-fi nor romance. Like, to me, it's more of like a literary fiction kind of thing. It's written in a lot of prose, a lot of flowery language. And so when I was, especially at the start, when I was kind of like getting into it and I was like, oh my God, but I kind of felt like I didn't understand it. Like this whole time I'm reading it and like I knew what was happening, I guess, but I was like, I felt like I was too dull to understand it. But then I was crying. Like I cried at like multiple points and I was just so into it and submersed into what was going on. And I think that it's kind of amazing that it's written in such a flowery prose way that I thought I didn't understand it, but like I clearly did. Like I was emotionally affected by it. And so I kind of loved that even though like you're not reading every word like reading it word for word and taking the literal meaning of everything it doesn't work. Like I understood it just from like reading and following it, and I really don't know how to explain it, but it's amazing. I highly recommend. It's only, I think it's like 198 pages. It's not even 200 pages and it's just beautiful. I cried happy tears, sad tears, like everything. And oh wait, let me put up photos. I love putting up photos of when I cried. Well, first off, I love taking photos of when I cry while reading, and then I love putting them up in these videos because it just cracks me up. Like, then I read Bloody Heart and Savage Lover by Sophie Lark, and you know what? At this point, if Sophie Lark writes it, I'm gonna read it. Because you know what? And I'll talk more about this later when we get to Emily McIntyre, but I love Sophie Lark's romances because they're dark, and this is where I teeter on the line of dark romance. Do I like it or not like it? Like, they're dark, but it's never like a bully romance. Like, the main male character never like hates the girl, treats her wrong, or like does her dirty, from what I remember from anything I've read. But the male character is usually like obsessed with her. I don't know how to explain it, but I love Sophie Lark. I love that they're illustrated, and I eat them up every time. I ate them both up so quickly. Okay, next, when I said I wanted to get back into my fantasy era, I was being serious, and I, out of nowhere, picked up The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten. I'm obsessed with Hannah Witten now. Like, I am obsessed with her. Basically, this book was amazing. I think it's like 4.5, 4.75 stars. Like, it wasn't perfect for me. Like, maybe it was. Like, honestly, this whole series, when I get the next one and whatever, like, this could be a 5-star series for me. I see that. This book, like, just didn't give me that 5-star obsession or feeling, but it was so close. I love the main character. I love the magic system. I love the two dude main characters. Like, they were amazing. The plot, amazing. Like, everything was so good. And basically it follows Lore, who has this control on death magic, or just death, sort of. It's not really like characterized as death magic. It's more of just like the essence of death. But she's hid that her whole life because that's like illegal, basically. And she gets found and hired by the king, and the church that kind of surrounds the death magic situation. Like, people who come close to death usually can control that death magic, but if they go to this church and become like a priest or whatever, you are allowed to do it. So she gets recruited by them to infiltrate court and to figure out like why all these towns around the city are dying. Like, is it their enemy country? And the king wants her to keep an eye on his son because he thinks the son is the traitor. And when I tell you, I folded for every man in this book, and Laura's so badass. Like, Laura's like such a strong female character, and I absolutely loved it. If anyone knows how to get me an arc of Hemlock Queen, please let me know. I want it so bad. I am obsessed with her. After that, I read Solitaire by Alice Oseman, and I had a really hard time figuring out how I felt about this book because I love Tori Spring. I identify with Tori Spring. Like, if I'm a Heartstopper character, I'm Tori Spring. I understand her and I get it, and I felt like the portrayal of depression was done really, really well. And the mania, like, you know, like, she's manic. Like, I felt like that was described really well. But the resolution, I think, was done horribly. Like, I think there needed to be another 30 or 40 pages going through what happened versus, like, 5 pages. Alice Oseman is very good at writing unlikable characters. Like, in Loveless, I could not stand her friends. Pip was a horrible friend. And in this, like, her friend at the start of the book, horrible friend, her parents are horrible. Like, everyone just treats her so, like, wrong, and it's frustrating to read because it's like it's so clear. Like, it's like she's like screaming for help, and everyone just like walks past and is like, stop being dramatic. And it's like the signs are they're in all caps. Like, it's not even like, oh, she's just shy. Like, it's like she's sleeping 17 hours a day. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just like, oh, she seems sad. Like, it's like, that doesn't seem right. Anyways, long story short, I absolutely love Tori, so it was hard for me to decide if I wanted to rate this 3 stars or 4 stars. It's tough. After that, I read For the Wolf duology by Hannah Witten. Like I said, I'm obsessed with Hannah Witten now. Like, I read The Foxglove King, and I was like, what else has Hannah Witten wrote? Like, what else has Hannah Witten written? I needed to read them immediately. So I read For the Wolf and For the Throne, and I'm kind of disappointed that I read this during my 24-hour readathon because I think I would have had stronger feelings toward it, but because I finished it at like 4 a.m. and I wanted to go to bed before then, it was kind of like this weird situation where I was like, I know this book is amazing and I can like feel the amazing, I love these characters, but like I am feeling so horrible right now that I can't like acknowledge that. But long story short, I loved both of these, like, oh my god. Red and Eamon, oh my gosh. And then freaking these two? Amazing. I love the universes. I love her writing. I love her stories. Everything is like 10 out of 10, would recommend. I absolutely love Hannah Witten. Then I read Weather Girl by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This was actually so good. I was not in the mood for it, but I was like, oh, it's been on my TBR forever and I do want to read it. And I just picked it up and I had such a fun time reading it. It was spicy that I was not expecting. It's basically Parent Trap, or if you've seen the movie Set It Up with Zoe Deutch and Glenn Powell, which is amazing, by the way. I love that movie. You'll love this. It's basically the same exact thing. Then I read the next 3 books in the Twisted series. I had read Hooked already, so I read Scarred, Wretched, and Twisted. And I don't know, actually I know why I read them, because I owned them and I am so horrible. I wouldn't DNF a series that I owned 4 books of. But by the end I finished, when I was reading Wretched, I literally was like, why am I reading these? Like, they were a consistent 3 stars for me. And because there's scenes in it where I'm like, oh, that's slay. And then there's also scenes in it where I'm like, I don't love a dark romance where the male character is so aggressive towards her. Like, I don't love that. They're so evil. But anyways, that's what all I've read so far. I'm currently reading, oh, let me show you my current read. Where is it? Whatever. I'm reading Broken Vow by Sophie Lark. I have Heavy Crown right here. I'm gonna read this once I finish Broken Vow, which I'll probably finish today. I'm almost done. And like I said, I love a good Sophie Lark book. I'll see you in 2 weeks, but you're gonna see me in 5 seconds. Hi, baby. Do you want to say hi to everybody? Whoa. Say hi. Hi. Mwah. It's been 2 seconds for you. It's been 2 weeks for me. Let's finish this wrap up. Next, I read Broken Vow, and it was good. Honestly, I love Sophie Lark. If she wrote it, like, I ate it up. Then I read the first 2 books in the Salacious Players series because these are the only 2 that have discrete covers right now. But honestly, these were good. Like, the spice was really, really good. There needs to be a right combination of fluff and spice for me, I feel like. And the way that these are structured, it doesn't offer a lot of that because of the whole point of them, but they were very good and I ate them up. Very good. Then this kind of took me so long to read. I read Tristic's Venom because I was reading this like on my phone, like whenever I was working at JCPenney, because yeah, so this took me forever, but it was pretty good. I couldn't decide whether I like really liked it, like was it 4 stars or like 3.5, just because P. Doug is such an interesting author. I don't love her dynamics. Like, I've said this once, said it a million times, honestly. Like, I don't like when it's like enemies or whatever and then they like love each other, but like the enemy or the rival or whatever like is actually kind of mean to them, like in a very kind of like hurtful way. So Clay was like really mean to Olivia, like really mean, but I don't know, otherwise it was really good and it was cute and yeah. Then I read Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey, and I don't know why I put this off so long because I am notoriously a Tessa Bailey stan, but it was really good. I've read like so many of her books and I don't always love them, but this I ate up. I loved him. Julian slayed. He slayed. And right now I'm reading the second one, but I didn't finish it. I'm like 2/3 way through because I'm also reading it on my phone while I'm at work. But yeah, this was really cute. I love Tessa Bailey. She's an auto buy for me, but not an auto love. Oh my god. Then I read Double Pucked, and I honestly, maybe it was 2 stars. I gave this 1 stars on Goodreads because it just like emphasizes the moment I had reading this. Like I think my Goodreads review says like, I fought through World War III finishing this book. This This is the last time I take one of those one sentence recommendations from TikTok because in theory, so good. Her cheating ex is like a super big hockey fan and he has like VIP passes to meet the 2 best hockey players or whatever, and she figures out he's cheating on her, and then she steals the passes and goes and meets them, and then they like want to have a moment with her, right? And in theory, so good, but there's just so many not good things about the book itself. Like the dialogue, so corny. The inner monologues, so corny. Just what happens, so corny. The jokes, like the underlying like thread of joking here is like her dog is like really randy. No, they don't talk about her dog ever unless it's talking about him like humping something or like eating her panties, and I'm just like, why sexualize a dog? Like there was no need, and it was like kind of gross and just like not funny to me. So the whole time I was just kind of like fighting for my life reading this, but I really try my hardest to not DNF books. I hate DNFing books. Anyway, then I read Dial A for Aunties. This was my book club book, and I thought it was okay. It was extremely chaotic, which was fun. I was glad that this was our book club book because it wasn't like something that I would have picked out for myself, but it was very fast paced, so I didn't like get stuck at all. And I loved her, because there's a romance in it. I loved the guy, but then at the end, it was kind of like suspicious, like, you're okay with this? Anyway, it was pretty good. I think I gave it like 3 stars. The last book I finished this month, which was a big slay, was The Serpent and the Wings of the Night by Carissa Broadbent. This is slaying. I really, really loved this. It was like a 4.75, maybe 4.5. I loved Oriah. I loved Rain. The magic system, very interesting. My friend pointed this out after, and she was like saying how there's like so many similarities between this and From Blood and Ash. But honestly, like, I didn't really think about it until after she was like pointing them out. And then I was like, but you know what? Props to Carissa Broadbent, because she accomplished what Jennifer Armentrout did in 3 books. The first 3 books of From Blood and Ash, boom. Like if we're talking like plot progression, boom. Like, listen, I read the first From Blood and Ash books, and I will read the next 4. But this was just like so much better, you know? They're not riding in circles on horses to every town. Anyway, this was really good, and I'm almost done with the novella. I'm so excited to finish this, and then hopefully I'll read Daughter of No World soon, because I absolutely loved this. It was great. And that's my wrap up. I am so busy and doing the most. He's so cute. Okay, I don't have much to say. I really am all over the place this month, these weeks. Anyways, long story short. Did you hear that growl? You stretch, Bubba. I literally cannot get the sentence out, so we're moving on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Freddie slay, Freddie say hey. Okay. Sorry for the squeaking. Are you sorry for the squeaking? That's it. Love you. Mwah. Bye.